In a world where financial power is centralized in the hands of a few, where large institutions control almost everything we consume and use, a mysterious young man emerged to challenge this order. Vitalik Buterin, a name that few knew but would soon become synonymous with revolution in the digital world. At just 19 years old, he had the vision to create something that would forever change the way we deal with money, contracts, and trust. Ethereum, created by him, was not just a digital currency like Bitcoin, but an entire platform that would make a decentralized future possible. The importance of Ethereum is much deeper than simply creating a new cryptocurrency. It brought with it the promise of a fairer, more open, and more transparent financial system. What Vitalik created was not just a technological project, but a philosophy of decentralization that enables the creation of smart contracts, where trust no longer depends on intermediaries but on a global network that ensures agreements are automatically and securely executed. This system gave birth to a new era for cryptocurrencies and the financial market as a whole. However, the impact of Ethereum goes beyond finance. It not only revolutionized the cryptocurrency sector, but also opened doors to new possibilities in areas like governance, insurance, gaming, and even art. The concept of smart contracts enabled the creation of decentralized applications, DApps, which became the foundation of a new digital ecosystem, allowing anyone around the world to create solutions without relying on a central authority. This movement not only challenged the traditional financial system, but also proposed a new vision of how people can interact and trade without the need for intermediaries. Vitalik Buterin was born in 1994 in Kolomna, Russia, a small town that at first glance would not suggest that someone from there would change the history of the financial world. But from an early age, Vitalik showed an extraordinary talent. When he was just 6 years old, his family immigrated to Canada in search of better opportunities. There, the young Vitalik quickly stood out for his incredible intellectual ability, especially in mathematics and programming. He was not like other children. While many got lost in games or play, Vitalik dedicated himself to reading about complex topics that most could not even understand. Vitalik's passion for computing emerged early in his adolescence. At 11 years old, he was already venturing into the world of gaming and later game programming. However, it was when he discovered the concept of cryptocurrency that his true journey began. Bitcoin, then a novelty in the digital world, captured his attention deeply, making him dedicate himself to understanding the principles behind this new decentralized currency. It was at this point that the idea of a new financial system began to take root in his mind. He saw the potential not only to improve Bitcoin, but to create a platform that would be even more revolutionary, allowing the execution of contracts in a decentralized manner. This transition from childhood to adolescence was marked by an accelerated development of his technical and intellectual skills. While most of his peers were concerned with typical teenage issues, Vitalik was immersed in books, forums, and articles about cryptocurrencies and blockchain. He not only learned about these technologies, but also became actively involved in the digital community. In 2013, at 19 years old, he had already created his first significant project, Bitcoin Magazine, a publication that would become one of the largest sources of information about cryptocurrencies and blockchain. This step not only solidified his place in the tech world, but also set him on the path to creating something even bigger: Ethereum. When Vitalik Buterin encountered Bitcoin in 2011, he didn't just see it as a currency, but as a window into a new world, a new way of interacting with money and technology. At that time, Bitcoin was still seen as something obscure and of limited interest, but Vitalik saw in it the potential for something much bigger. He was fascinated by the idea of decentralization, of a financial system without intermediaries, where trust didn't depend on banks or governments, but on a distributed network of computers. This was the first step in his journey to create Ethereum, a platform that would surpass Bitcoin's limits and transform the way we deal with transactions and contracts. Vitalik knew that Bitcoin, although innovative, had its limitations, was essentially a digital currency, but it didn't offer the flexibility needed for more complex applications. The idea of smart contracts and creating a platform that could support decentralized applications was growing in his mind. In 2013, he decided to share his vision with the world. He wrote the Ethereum white paper, where he detailed his proposal for a blockchain that would not only be a currency, but an infrastructure for creating automatic and decentralized contracts between parties without the need for intermediaries. Vitalik was proposing a paradigm shift, and many in the cryptocurrency community were skeptical about his ideas. Despite the criticism, Vitalik's vision began to attract attention. He partnered with other developers and professionals in the sector, and in 2014, the idea began to take shape. Vitalik and his team started working hard on the development of Ethereum, seeking investors and support to turn the vision into reality. But the journey wasn't easy. They faced many technical, financial, and even personal challenges as they tried to convince the world that their idea could work and transform the industry. It was a fight against an established financial system and the resistance of a market that had already become accustomed to Bitcoin. But Vitalik was determined to prove that something bigger and more powerful was coming. From the moment Vitalik Buterin conceived the idea of Ethereum, he knew he was proposing something bold. It wasn't just about improving what already existed, like Bitcoin, but about creating something completely new, a platform capable of supporting not just financial transactions, but smart contracts and an array of decentralized applications. The concept of smart contracts was radical. The idea that through code, it would be possible to automate processes, eliminate intermediaries, and create more transparent and efficient systems. To do so, it would be necessary to build a robust infrastructure capable of supporting these complex digital interactions. As Vitalik's idea began to take more shape, he knew convincing the cryptocurrency community that his proposal was feasible would be a big challenge. The market was still immersed in the success of Bitcoin, which, although innovative, had clear limitations in terms of functionality. Many doubted that Ethereum would be anything more than a promising idea, and many did not believe it would be possible to create a platform that could handle all the complexity and high demands of what Vitalik was proposing. However, his vision was clear: to create an open, decentralized platform where anyone could create their own applications without the need for Intermediaries. Resistance did not only come from external critics, but also from members of the cryptocurrency community itself. Many considered Ethereum a threat to Bitcoin's dominance, believing Vitalik's idea to be too complex and risky. However, Vitalik persisted, and his determination to push the project forward led him to a pivotal decision to hold an initial coin offering, ICO, to fund the project. In 2014, he and his team began selling Ethereum tokens as a way to raise money for the platform's development. The ICO was a resounding success, raising over $18 million, proving that Ethereum had the community's support and that Vitalik's vision was not just a dream, but a real possibility. After the successful 2014 ICO, Vitalik Buterin and his team faced the monumental challenge of turning Ethereum's vision into a functional reality. It wasn't just a matter of creating a currency or transaction network, but rather a global platform for smart contracts capable of supporting decentralized applications, dApps, and interactions without the need for intermediaries. This goal of creating a robust and scalable infrastructure demanded an enormous amount of technical work, testing, and experimentation. Vitalik knew that if the platform failed, he would lose not only his reputation, but also the trust of investors and the community. Every line of code he wrote was laying the foundation for a new digital era. The Ethereum team worked tirelessly to overcome technical obstacles and implement innovative solutions to scalability and security challenges. They were creating something unprecedented in the history of computing, a decentralized network that could be used by anyone around the world to create contracts in a secure and automated way. Vitalik, in particular, was known for his almost obsessive dedication to technical details, ensuring that every part of the platform was perfectly integrated and functioning as it should. He knew that Ethereum's success depended not only on innovation, but also on the trust he could generate within the community and the market. In July 2015, Ethereum was officially launched, and the cryptocurrency community was about to witness the birth of a new era. The launch of Ethereum was not just the beginning of another cryptocurrency, but of a technological revolution. The first transactions began to take place, and the first dApps started to emerge, showing that Ethereum was not just a theory or a promise. Vitalik's vision was materializing before the eyes of the world, and with it, possibilities that once seemed unthinkable emerged. However, this initial success did not mean that Ethereum was free from challenges. On the contrary, it was just the beginning of a long journey, with unexpected obstacles, security attacks, and increasing pressure from other projects seeking to overtake Ethereum. When Ethereum was finally launched in July 2015, it was as if a bomb had exploded in the cryptocurrency world. The project, which until then had been just an audacious idea and a promise, was now a real functional platform full of potential. However, the launch was not without controversy. Many in the cryptocurrency community were skeptical about Vitalik's proposal, and even some of the early investors were unsure about the future of Ethereum. The reality of such a complex decentralized system still seemed distant to many, and many doubted that the platform would be able to handle the load of transactions and smart contracts that Vitalik had promised. In the first days after the launch, Ethereum faced technical difficulties and adoption challenges. Several bugs and security flaws emerged, putting the platform's resilience and viability to the test. Many saw these early mistakes as a sign that the project would not be able to survive in the long run. But Vitalik, with his unwavering vision and tireless determination, did not let these obstacles paralyze him. He and his team worked quickly to fix the issues and ensure that the platform would become more robust and secure over time. The launch of Ethereum was, in fact, only the beginning of a journey that would require constant innovation and adaptation. As Ethereum overcame its initial obstacles, it began to show the world its true potential. The idea of smart contracts started to gain popularity, and the first decentralized applications, dApps, began to be created on the platform. The possibilities were endless, from financial services to gaming, governance, and even new forms of digital art. Ethereum's great promise was to create a decentralized internet where people could interact directly without the need for intermediaries, with more transparency and control over their data. Ethereum was quickly becoming the center of a new digital revolution. The launch of Ethereum was not just a technical milestone, but a revolution for the entire cryptocurrency ecosystem. Unlike Bitcoin, which had a single application as digital currency, Ethereum opened doors to something much broader, a platform capable of creating and executing smart contracts without the need for intermediaries. With this, Ethereum ushered in a new era for cryptocurrencies, where decentralization was not limited only to financial transactions, but also to the creation of decentralized applications, dApps, and the development of new models of digital governance. The impact of Ethereum was immediately felt in decentralized finance, DeFi. Before Ethereum, cryptocurrencies were essentially used as a means of exchange or store of value, but Ethereum enabled the creation of complex financial systems, such as decentralized lending, asset exchanges, and even insurance, all without the need for a bank or financial institution to intermediate transactions. This not only provided greater access to financial services, but also introduced the concept of a more inclusive, transparent financial system open to anyone in the world. Ethereum, with its flexibility and open-source code, began to create a decentralized global financial ecosystem. Moreover, Ethereum not only redefined the world of cryptocurrencies, but also impacted a range of industries beyond finance. The technology of smart contracts was adopted in areas such as governance, property registries, online voting, and even the creation of digital art and NFTs, non-fungible tokens. Companies, governments, and organizations began exploring Ethereum as a tool to innovate within their own sectors, and the platform became established as the foundation for creating new business models. Ethereum, which started as a bold idea, was now one of the pillars of the global digital economy. From the beginning of his journey, Vitalik Buterin always had a very clear vision of the future, a world that was more decentralized, transparent, and inclusive, where control was not in the hands of a few, but distributed among everyone. Ethereum, with its smart contract platform, was just the first step in realizing this vision. Vitalik knew that by creating Ethereum, he was not just innovating the way financial transactions worked, but also offering an alternative to traditional models of governance, banking systems, and even governments themselves. Decentralization, for Vitalik, is not just a matter of technology, but a philosophy of life. He believes that decentralization can change the way societies function, ensuring greater freedom and control for individuals. Instead of relying on a centralized institution for validation and oversight, like banks or governments, people could trust in smart contracts and autonomous systems that operate in a transparent and secure manner. The idea of a decentralized web, or Web 3.0, where people have full control over their data, identity, and online interactions, is one of Vitalik's great bets for the future. Additionally, Vitalik has a continuous focus on the evolution of Ethereum. He has advocated for the development of technological improvements for the platform, with an emphasis on scalability, security, and sustainability. Ethereum 2.0, a major update aimed at improving network efficiency, reducing energy consumption, and allowing greater scalability, is an example of how Vitalik sees Ethereum as a constantly evolving project. He is not content with the status quo and is committed to making the platform increasingly powerful, robust, and accessible to a growing number of users and developers around the world. Although Vitalik Buterin has been widely recognized as the creator of one of the most revolutionary platforms in recent history, his journey was not without challenges. In addition to the technical difficulties in the development of Ethereum, and the initial criticism about the viability of his project, Vitalik also faced significant personal and professional challenges along the way. Over the years, he found himself in a delicate position, being the face of one of the most innovative technologies, and at the same time, one of the most controversial. Success brought with it enormous pressure, and he had to learn how to balance his role as a leader of a global project with the expectations of the community, investors, and more recently, government institutions that began to see Ethereum as a threat to the status quo. Regarding Ethereum, Vitalik had to deal with numerous cyber attacks and threats to the platform's security, creating a complex decentralized network that relied on the trust of millions of users around the world, made it a target for hackers, and Ethereum was vulnerable to several security flaws in its early years. Additionally, the project also dealt with the challenge of ensuring that its platform was accessible and useful for developers and businesses. Vitalik and his team faced the massive challenge of ensuring that the platform was robust yet flexible, enough to allow a range of innovations, from financial services to new forms of governance. In addition to technical challenges, Vitalik also had to confront philosophical and ethical issues about the true nature of Ethereum, as he saw Ethereum not only as a financial platform but as a driving force for a decentralized digital future. The question arose: how much should he control the development of the project or let it evolve more autonomously? The concept of decentralization, in which Vitalik deeply believed, clashed with his role as the leader of a centralized foundation guiding Ethereum. The project began to face criticism over its degree of centralization, and the community questioned Vitalik's role in the platform's future. These issues started to become part of the discussion surrounding Ethereum and the future of decentralized technologies. Looking at the impact Vitalik Buterin has had on the world, it is clear that he is not just the creator of a cryptocurrency, but a visionary who helped define a new era for the internet, finance, and the way societies can operate. Ethereum not only revolutionized the financial sector, but also challenged the conventions of what is possible in the digital space. Vitalik didn't just build a system that would allow faster and more secure transactions and contracts, but also opened the doors to a new era of decentralized innovation, where anyone, anywhere in the world, could create and run their own applications, transparently, securely, and without relying on a central authority. Vitalik's legacy goes beyond Ethereum. He helped pave the way for the development of technologies that are now fundamental to the creation of Web 3.0, a decentralized internet, where data is not controlled by corporate giants, but instead shared and managed collaboratively. Ethereum became the foundation for movements like decentralized finance, DeFi, and non-fungible tokens, NFTs, offering a new form of digital value and interaction in the online space. His vision of decentralization impacted not only technology, but also the way people think about freedom, privacy, and power in the digital age. The future of Vitalik and Ethereum remains a constantly evolving journey. With the launch of Ethereum 2.0 and the promise of greater scalability, security, and sustainability, Vitalik is determined to ensure that his creation remains one of the most influential platforms in the digital world. As more industries and governments explore the possibilities of a decentralized economy, Vitalik's vision of a fairer, more transparent, and more accessible global financial system seems increasingly close to reality. His impact is not limited to the world of cryptocurrencies, but extends to any area where decentralization and transparency can offer innovative solutions